All right, good morning, students. It is the last day of class. You have made it. You've made it, you've made it, you've made it. Congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back. This was not an easy task, but you guys made it through. So congratulations to all of you for making it this far, regardless of anything else that happens. You all made it to the end of the term. That is pretty fantastic. So today we are going to go over some announcements just about, reminders for testing. And then we will get started with a review. We're just going to go over our classes practice that I gave to you all to be done by today. Most of you did it, so that's great. And then we are going to look a little bit on some ratios as those were requested. So we're going to take a look at some ratios. So hopefully that will help us all out. All right, that is the plan for today. Yeah, so we made it. Yeah, we made it through. We can only be thankful for at least that we're here, right? Like nothing else. We can't control anything else, but we are currently here and that's it. That's all we can do. Okay. So just a reminder, you guys, for next week, testing is happening Monday and Tuesday of next week. And let me just double check the schedule for all of you. I'm pretty sure that both Miriam and Jules are on Monday next week. Let me go into my folder and just be sure here.
What time?
9:30. It'll be 9:30 in the morning is when you should try to get there, so that you can get checked in and all of that stuff. So yeah, try to arrive at 9:30 on Monday. Don't see my folder with my information. Give me a second. Let me try to find it. Okay, let's see. Here it is. Okay, so on the 14th, yes. We do have all the way up to, make sure. Yeah, Jules, you are also on Monday. Yeah, so Jules and Miriam Monday, 9:30. Tishelle is going to be Tuesday, 9:30. Okay. Just a reminder for you guys when you need to show up for your testing. Good luck. I'm sure you guys will do absolutely spectacularly well. But again, doesn't matter because you made it to the end of the term. So that's already a huge accomplishment. Okay. All right. Let's continue on from here. I just want to share with you guys. I know some of you guys shared what you wanted to share with me already about your feelings about the term. But if you still want to share more feedback, I have put a link in your course for you. So if you go to your course, At the very bottom of your course, you'll have a link to provide some feedback about online learning. If you click on this link, it'll give you a chance to put your comments into a form. And it's just a good idea to just do this and just leave some feedback about how this term went. A lot of it was very chaotic for some people. Some of it worked for some people. It did not work for others. It's important to just give that feedback because we all need to learn and grow. It's not a lot we can control, right? As far as we can't control whether or not we can really be in the building because of what's going on in the world with the pandemic. But we can control what services we provide to you guys and how we extend those services. So it's important to just give that feedback to give us an idea of what that needs to look like in the future. Okay, so if you have time, please make sure you complete that online learning feedback link there. Okay. All right, so going back to our PowerPoint, we have a little warm-up exercise for us. Our last GED practice question of the term. Yay! So it says your study group contains 4 girls and 8 boys. What % of the total number of students are boys? Your study group contains 4 girls and 8 boys. What % of the total number of students are boys? Okay, I see one answer in the chat. Anybody else? What do we have? What's our total? What % of the total number of students are boys? Okay, I see an answer from Jules in there as well. Okay, Miriam also says B. Okay, all right, so we have 4 girls and 8 boys, right? So how many students in total is that? We have a total of how many students?
Not 12.
Okay, we have 12 students, right? That's 12 in total. And so it says 8 of them are boys. So what is the % of the total number of students that are boys? We just have to do 8 out of 12, which is going to give us 67%. All right. This is our first ratio question of the day, right? When we're thinking about ratios and we're thinking about rates and percents, this is what we're doing, right? All we're doing is using the information we're given to calculate a rate. In this case, a ratio, right? We have 8 of the 12 are boys. That leaves us 67% are boys, all right? Most of them are boys. Without even doing any math, we should be able to immediately eliminate answers C and D, right? Because we know that there are more boys than girls. So that % should not be equal, right? 50% is not, it can't be equal. And it definitely isn't less boys than there are girls. So C and D don't make sense. So we have to think about A and B. The only way that A makes sense is if we think that when we calculate percents, we're looking and comparing only the number of girls to boys, and we're like, oh, well, there's twice as many boys, so there's 200% more boys. And that's not how that works, right? We have to think about the total number of students, which is 8 plus 4, which gives us 12. 8 divided by 12 would give us 67%, which is the percent of boys that we have. All right. So that's our first little example there. Now we're going to take a look. We're going to go over your submissions for the CASAS practice. I'm glad you guys were able to look into that and do that. Overall, pretty good job. As long as you don't rush it, pretty good job. If there are things that you don't remember, I saw that there's a lot of comments in here about things we need to go over. I only have an hour and a half with you all today. I can't go over 6 topics, but I can go over some of it and we will talk about it. And the best way to do that is to do that practice. I'm going to look into our folder, week 11. I'm going to open up the CASAS practice, and that's what we're going to go over right now. All right. I am going to go over it by question. Right. Okay. All right, so this question is one that throws people off a lot.
Mr. G,
Yes.
I'm just asking, just say yes or no. Is the answer for number 2 4x negative 10?
No.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so you're on the right track, but you have to remember that you're starting with Molly and you're subtracting Ron. So your negatives, I think, need to be switched. And then you'll get the right answer. You're starting off with this. So this is on the left. You're subtracting the other one. Okay. All right.
Yeah, because it took me a time to get number 1. So yeah. I knew I was going off somewhere with number 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this one, Molly has 4x plus $10 and Ron has 20 minus 5x dollars. How much more money? So this is the one you're talking about, actually. This is the subtraction one. This is the one that, yeah. So it's coming up first for me because it's a random order. So it could come up first or second for you, but this is the one, yeah, this is where we need to be subtracting, okay? In the other one we're adding, this one we're subtracting because it says how much more money. How much more? When we see how much more, we know that we need to be doing subtraction. So we're going to take this first number or this first expression, 4x plus 10. We take this first expression and we subtract the second expression, which is minus 20 minus 5x. Okay, so we have to apply this minus, which is going to turn into a negative, essentially. We have to apply this to the 2 terms inside the parentheses. So now we have 4x plus 10 minus 20 minus 5x. So now we're going to combine our like terms. Which terms are alike? Which terms are alike?
4x and
4x and 5, negative 5x.
Okay, so what's 4x minus 5x?
Mr. G.
2x, yes. Negative 2x.
Yeah, negative 2x.
Okay, wait, go, Jules, go ahead and ask your question, then we're gonna go ahead and address that answer. What was your question, Jules?
Yeah, okay, what do you say, minus, when we apply minus to 20 and minus 5x?
Yes. What happened? What did I do wrong? What happened? What did I forget to do, Jules? I didn't apply my negative, right? I have minus 20 minus a negative 5x. What is going to happen to those 2 minuses? It should be
a plus.
Positive. Okay, so it should be plus 5x. Good. All right, good job. Jules pointed that out for me. Good. All right, so I have 4x plus 5x. What is that going to be? What's 4x plus 5x?
9x.
9x.
9x. All right, what's 10 minus 20?
Minus 10.
10, negative 10.
Minus 10. Okay, so this is going to be my answer.
Mr. G,
Yeah.
I was trying to work out the 4x negative 5x. I was like, if my husband there was a negative $5 and I have 4, but I ended up with like $1.
Yeah, a negative dollar at that. Yeah. And so
Right.
remember to apply the negative. That's the biggest mistake, right? Remember to apply this negative here. Always apply that negative.
Oh,
And that's what I didn't
the
do.
two
And that's
negatives
what
would
I
have made
almost
it
ended up with the
a
wrong
plus.
answer.
Okay.
Apply the negative. So then you have 9x minus 10. So she has 9x minus $10 more than Ron. Okay, we're not going to have an exact number of dollars. We're just going to have this expression to represent the number of dollars that she has. It's 9x minus 10. Okay. So when it comes to this, when we see how much more money, we need to subtract the first expression. We have to subtract the second expression from the first expression. Make sure you apply the negative to both. Minus 20 plus 5x. Combine your like terms, right? When you have like terms, you have to combine them, right? But the biggest issue that I notice with you all when you're combining your like terms is you forget how to do negative numbers. You're like, oh, I don't remember how negative numbers work. And you're like, oh, I have 10 and 20, that has to be 30. What? Since when? It's 10 minus 20, that means I have negative 10.
That
Okay.
much I got.
Good. Good, good, good. All right, let's try the next question. So the order might not be the same order that you see them in because they're randomized, but we're gonna see what the next question is. Okay. All right, this one was a tough one because again, we forgot to apply our distributive property rules. This was surprisingly difficult, but we have 8y minus 6 times 3y minus 7. So the first thing you guys should be doing when you see this, when you see a parentheses and something outside the parentheses, remember that you have to apply what's outside the parentheses to both of the items inside the parentheses. Both of these items. So you have -6 and you have to apply that negative, you have to multiply that -6 to 3. What's -6 times 3?
24.
-6 times 3?
-6. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
It's negative 18y.
Negative 18y. All right, now I have -6 times -7. What's that? -6 times -7?
42. Negative.
Plus, nope, plus 42, right? Because it's two negatives.
Okay.
Right?
42.
So now I have 8y minus 18y plus 42. I have to combine these two like terms. So I have 8y minus 18y. How many y's do I have?
2.
8y minus 18y. How many y's do I have?
2.
2 y's.
8y minus 18y.
Oh,
10
that's
y. 10 y. 10 y. Negative 10 y.
Negative 10 y. All right. I have $8, but I owe you 18. How much money do I owe you now?
$10.
Okay. All right, so this is your answer, -10y plus 42.
And what I gotta get, I just wrote my answer because I wrote down all the questions in my book, Mr. G, and did them in my book before I did them back.
Yeah, no, and so for this one, I think the first time you made a mistake, but the second time you may have gotten it right. I'm not sure.
No, the second time what I had the 24, but I think I had 24y plus 42.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what, yeah, you have the 42. Yeah, 24y minus 42 is what you got.
Right.
Yeah. Don't forget when you have two negatives, it becomes positive, so it should be plus 42.
But the thing about it, Mr. G, I think where I went wrong because I did the 8 with the 3 and the 6 with the 7, but I should have done the 6 with the 3 and the 6 with the 7 and take down the 8.
Yes.
As you did
Yes.
that.
Yeah, that's what I did too. I
Yes.
did the same thing.
Remember that when we're combining like terms, we're only combining when we have addition and subtraction. When we have multiplication, it doesn't matter if they're alike or not alike, we just multiply the numbers, okay? Just multiply.
And you have to keep remembering the sign.
Yeah.
Two negative give you a
Positive.
positive. Negative and a positive is going to give you a negative.
Negative,
Anything with
absolutely.
a any plus with a negative always going to remain a negative. But anytime you have two negatives, that's a positive. So I need
Yes,
to
when you're
remember.
talking about multiplication and division, yes, absolutely, yes. Okay, all right.
So it was that one.
All right, let's go to the next one. All right, this is one of my favorite questions. I think all of you got it right this time, but except for whatever reason, Miriam, the second time you left off my 50 cents. Don't forget my 50 cents. But yes, this is
50 cents. I put 5.5. Didn't you say 0.5 still represent?
no, the second time. Look at what you wrote. The second. Oh no, this isn't the one. Never mind. This is the other one. You.
Because when I did over, I got 3 wrong.
So on the other one, I gave you the credit for it, but on the other one, when you did it the second time, you did it right both times. But for whatever reason, on the second time, the other one, which is a fill in the blank, you wrote 507 and not 507.5.
Really?
Yeah, I'll show you when we get there. Okay. So for this one, we have many steps in order to get this answer. This is a multi-step problem.
I'm still seeing the old thing on my part, Mr. G.
Sorry. Here you go.
Oh, so that's why I didn't. Oh. I don't know, but I have $409.50.
Yeah, I know. Yes, but on the fill in the blank one, so not this one, but the one that's related to this, and it's the fill in the blank one with the dishwasher getting delivered. You left off the 50 cents the second time. For some reason, I'm not sure why. Okay, but this one has 4 steps, right? Because the dishwashers are 35% off the original price, and then you have to add 5% sales tax, right? Yeah. So our first step is to find the discount.
How much is 35% off the 600?
Exactly. So you have to multiply, right? And when you do that, you're going to get $210.
You take away it from the 600.
And then you do 600 minus 210, you're going to get 390. So that's the sale price of my dishwasher. Now that it's 35% off, that's how much it's going to cost me. But of course, I now have to pay sales tax. My sales tax is 5%. So I have to multiply that. Okay, and I have $19.50. That's how much I have to pay in sales tax.
So you add it to the $390 now.
Add it to the $390, exactly. These are my 4 steps. And when I do all of that, I end up with $409.50. And that's the answer right here. Okay, so this is what's happening anytime you buy something at a discount price. So make sure you guys, when you do that, make sure you review those steps, right? And think about, this is what's happening all the time. This is why this question is important, not only because you're going to see something like this on the test, it's because you do this.
But it's real life, Mr. G, because I went to the store and the same thing happened, and I was saying to the person, I said, this is like highway robbery because you're taking off the discount before you do this, the tax and all of that. Why I'm not getting discount on the tax? So I said, no, the tax is not discounted. It's the product.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's absolutely how it works. Right. And it's also it's something that's very different for us because we didn't grow up with sales tax, right? Like whatever the price is, that's the price.
Right. That's how we used to it.
Yeah. So it's very different for us, but yeah, exactly. So that's why it's, that's how it works, right? This is how it works right now in our system, right? So, This is a good real life example of what's happening.
Because back home, they would already put in the sale tax in it. So if the thing is for $600, you just see 6. You wouldn't see 6 and expecting to spend a sale tax of 5%.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. Exactly right. Okay, any questions about this one? All right, let's keep moving. Let's go on to the next one. All right, these are difficult ones here. Our
my challenge, Mr. G.
Yeah, these are our absolute value problems. And so the first thing you have to be reminded of is what it means when we have an equation like this. So when you see this, okay, and this is more GED prep than CASAS test prep. You're not gonna have a CASAS test prep question like this, but this is on the GED, okay? And what you're gonna see here is that if you have a positive answer, when you have a setup like this, if there's a positive solution, you see 34 is a positive number, right? That means that there are 2 solutions, okay? If you have a negative answer, right? A negative answer means no solutions.
So, it can only be 2 solution or no solution?
No, there's one more time.
One
If it's
solution.
If it's 0, it's 1 solution. Okay.
So what do you mean if it's 0, Mr. G?
So if instead of 34, I have 0.
Okay.
That's my answer, right? So if it's 0, then I have 1 solution. If it's a positive number, it's 2 solutions. If it's a negative number, no solutions. Okay. So that's what you're looking for. This is the first thing that you should understand with these absolute value problems. Okay, whenever you see an absolute value problem, this is what you need to understand. If it's a positive answer, there are 2 solutions. If there's a negative answer, there are no solutions. And if it's equal to 0, there is 1 solution. That's the first thing you need to know.
That's a big plus there, Mr. G. That's a whole heap of help right there. Negative equal to Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so once you understand that, the next thing you have to do to solve it, because I know that there are 2 solutions, right? I need to remove these absolute value bars and set my equation equal to my answer, and also set it equal to the negative version of my answer. And I have to solve for X in both cases. That's how I get my 2 solutions. Okay, if I have 2 solutions, I need to find the answer to the positive solution and also find the answer to the negative solution.
Mr. G, question before you go any further. So if we have the negative sign before and it's a no solution, what would the answer be like?
No solution. Just that. Just the word no solution. That's it.
Okay, because that's what I was thinking. I'm like, but
yeah. You wouldn't have to do anything else, but it would give you options like this, right? It would be like, oh, X is equal to -9, X is equal to this, whatever. It would give you these options, and then the last one would be no solution. You should know that your answer is going to be no solution, but other people might sit there trying to solve it and look for these other answers, right?
Okay, so
but the answer, it's just going to be no solution.
And if it's 0, we know that it's 1 solution, so that would be like the answer would be X equals -9 or X equal -8. So
exactly.
in this, so for instance, in this, being as we know that it's 2 answer, we could go ahead and cross out -9, X -9, and X equal -8.
Perfect, exactly.
Okay. But then you'd have to do the math, because then you need to know where the negative is coming.
Yes.
To be either before the 9 or before the 8.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly correct. Okay, all right. So now let's solve the positive solution first. So I have -2 minus 4x is equal to 34. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. I'm going to end up with -4x is equal to 36. I'm going to divide both sides by -4. And I have x is equal to -9. This should be enough. Now that I know that I have two solutions,
Yes.
this should be enough for me to figure out that this is the answer, okay? But we'll keep going and show you how to solve it completely, just in case you have to solve for both sides. You do the negative solution, you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna add 2 to both sides. This time you're gonna have -4x is equal to -32. You divide both sides by -4, and x is equal to 8. Okay?
Mr. G, hold on a minute. Let me.
Yeah. No problem.
At the top where you have the +2, it's because you have the 2 negative.
Yeah, this is, yeah. It's -2 from the problem.
Oh, and when you're working out, I hope I'm not being stressing any one of the other student there. You use the 2, we're doing by the 2 because we're trying to find the 4x. Is that why we do the 2 instead of the 4x?
So you always, right, so what we're doing first and foremost, right, in order to solve any equation, right, you want to make sure that you only are working with 2 terms, right? Right now we have 3. We have 1, 2, and 3. But the idea is always to isolate the x term, right?
Okay.
So I'm getting rid of this term that doesn't have x in it so that the x is by itself.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know, why you
Yeah.
use the 2 and not the 4.
Yeah, we always start with the one that doesn't have the x. So you want to try to get the x by itself first. Okay, and now that the x is by itself in this step, I can divide away the 4. Right?
Let me just
Mr. G.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got a question.
Yep.
Okay, when you simplify -4x with -4.
Yep.
And 36 with -4.
Yeah.
Okay, 36 divided by -4.
Yep.
That's -9.
Correct. Yep.
Well, how you came by the -4, my understanding of it, Jules, is that he brought down the -4 there. So you're going to use it to divide. So you have to divide both sides.
Yep. Exactly.
You divide one side and then you have to divide it on the other side. And the 4, cancel the 4 over here. So the 4 are going to divide in the 36. That gives us back the -9.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, and then I get 8 because in the second solution, I have -32. And so when I divide a negative by another negative, I'm going to end up with a positive number. In this case, that positive number is 8.
Because in truth and fact, Mr. G, if you should write down -4 9 times, and then pair them, you're going to leave back with a -9 because 9 is an odd number, sorry.
Correct. Yep.
Or if you use it, look at it that way, an odd number would end up with a negative, even number would be a positive.
Right, but what also matters is that because I have a -4, right, and I'm multiplying it by a -9, right, those two negatives are going to cancel each other out. I'm going to end up with a positive 36, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, yeah, so make sure, so when we're looking at these absolute value problems, right, the first place that you start is over here on the right with this idea of how many solutions do I have? Once I understand that, then I know how I need to proceed, right? Because if it's equal to 0, right, let's say, let's look at the situation where we might have it equal to 0. Let me go ahead and erase over here. Let's say that it's equal to 0. So all we would do in that case is just remove our bars and solve for x. So we would say -2 minus 4x is equal to 0. And again, we just solve, right? So we add 2 to both sides. We have -4x is equal to 2. We divide both sides by -4. X is equal to -1/2. That would be only in the case that we don't have 34 here, but instead we have a 0. Then we would have one solution. That one solution would be x is equal to -1/2. All right. In any other situation, if we have -34, then we don't have to do any math. Our answer is no solution, right? But then when we have this regular case here, like we just already went through, we know that we're going to have two solutions because this answer is a positive number. All right.
Mr. D.
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't understand about I got about the text I did yesterday. About the CASA process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is what we're going over right now. This one right here. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, the number 7 and number 8.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get there.
I got it, but they say that is wrong. I don't know why.
Okay. We'll check. We'll check and see why it said it was wrong. It could be because of, so the system is very sensitive to it being exact. So if you put a comma in or a period somewhere, even if it's still correct, it'll mark it wrong because it's very sensitive. But I'll see. We can go over, when we get there. Let me know which one it was. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we're going over the whole thing right now. All right. Any other questions about this problem? All right,
I just be forgetting my steps.
yeah, it's important to remember your steps and try to keep them in mind.
So that's before Mr. G.
This
Why you-
step here?
Yes, that helps a lot.
Okay. All right, let's try the next one. I think the next one might be the same idea. Let's see. No, it's the one that's the first one. All right, so this one is the same question we did first, but instead of subtracting, we're going to add them together. So it says, how much money do they have all together? So you have the 4x plus 10 plus 20 minus 5x. Okay, so in this situation, right, we're going to again just combine our like terms. So we have 10 plus 20. That's going to give us how much?
30.
30. We have 4x minus 5x. How much is that?
-1.
So negative x, right? So it's negative x plus 30. Okay. Do not write -1x. That's not correct, right? It's negative x. Yeah, it's just negative x. And make sure you always put your x value first. Any values with a variable should go first, and then the constant goes after. So negative x plus 30.
I need
All
a
right.
slap a pinch. Because in truth and in fact, Mr. G, when you do the number 2 is like a follow-up question to number 1.
Yep.
So for you to get the negative x, that alone should let me know that it's going to be a 9x for the
Yep.
other one.
Exactly. That's exactly correct. Yeah. That's why they were paired together.
Yeah, which I see it all the time.
Mm.
All the time I see question like this, it's a follow-up to the question before.
Yep. All right. Next one. All right, this one we're combining like terms. I think everybody got this one right that did it, right? It's because it's pretty straightforward, right? We're just looking for the ones, all the R's. Let's look at all the R's together. If we look at all the R's, we'll do 11 minus 4, that'll be 7. 12 plus 7 gives us 19R. Then we look at all the S's, we have 5 and 9, that gives us 14. And then there's no other T's, so we just copy the T down, right? So we have 19R plus 14S minus 7T, right? That's what we're looking for as our answer. That's it. Just as simple as that, right? When we combine our terms, we're just looking for the terms that are alike. okay? If there's no term that's alike with another term, you just bring it down with it. We don't have to do anything else to it. Perfect. All right, let's see our next one here. Ah, yes, this one might have been one of the ones that you got that says you got it wrong, Jules, but it probably is that you got it right because of, again, it's very sensitive with the numbers. And I think I went back and I corrected it too, right? Like, yeah, for this one, for instance, Miriam, it says that Miriam got them all wrong, right? Even though all of her answers are exactly correct, but she put a $sign in, so it marked it wrong. But I went back and I changed it and I gave her all of her points, right? Because she shouldn't get it wrong, but because she put a $sign in, right? That just makes it more correct. So all of her answers are correct and I put it in correct. And I think, yeah, same thing with you, Jules. You had all your math worked out in the problem. And so it marked it wrong, right? Because it just wanted the answer.
Okay.
But I went and I changed it to make sure you got your points. Yeah. I can always override the system whenever it marks something wrong like that. So don't worry about it. Like I'll always go back and check.
Okay.
Yeah, but guess what, Mr. G? When you see it and you see it's wrong, you're like, what?
But it has the answers though. It should show you the correct. It didn't show you the correct answers?
Mr. G, I was looking when I saw my marks last night because when I did it the first time, I went to I was like, why am I going to school? I'm done.
Right.
I can't do this after all of these months, whatever. So I say, you know what? Let me write them out in my book and do them in my book before I do the second one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, but it's, yeah. So always check to see what the answers are. Don't just look at the X because it could be. And most of the time it's supposed to show you the correct answers, and it should show you that, oh, you're not actually wrong. You just did too much with the by putting a $sign in, right? So it's marked correct now. I corrected it. So okay. But yes, for this one, again, we went through the same steps as we did for the dishwasher, but I actually broke it down this time, right? By making you put each step in. So if it's $22 for the system, but it's on sale for 15% off, and you have to add 7% sales tax, what is the final cost, right? So again, we go through all of those steps that we do. So we do the 2,200 times the 0.15. To make sure that we get our discount correct. Okay, so the discount is actually $330, right? That means our sales price is 2,200 minus 330. Did I do that right? Yeah. Which is going to be 1970, right? Something like that. I always forget. 1870? Yes, 1870. That's what I put. Okay, 1870 is my sales price. And then I'm going to multiply it by 0.07 to get my tax. So that's $130.90 is my sales tax. And then I add it all together to get my final answer. Is $2,000.90. Okay. And again,
I got that completely wrong.
I got that one.
I was thinking about, I had the 15 cents at first.
15%.
On my paper, but then I put $15. I don't know why.
Yeah, so you just have to keep in mind how this works, right? These are these real life math examples that are really important, right? Because these are the kind of things that you should just know how to do anyway, because of the fact that, like, we all shop and we all love discounts. So we all need to know how this process is working. And remember that you apply the discount first by multiplying the percent to your original price and subtracting the number that you get so that you know how much your new price is. That new price is what you're going to get charged your sales tax on. So you have to apply it to 7% and then add that 7% to that price to get your final answer, right? So these are the things that we not only need to know how to do mathematically, but we also need to know how to do for our lives, right? Because it's gonna make sure that we keep our money in check, right? Because I love to be the person at the cash register being like, oh, you did not apply that discount properly, right? And I've definitely had to do it before. And if I have to be, well, it's in the system. I'm like, it's not in the system. So try it again, right? Because I want all of my pennies. Okay?
Yeah, I'm stepping on, I'm like, no, something ain't right. Right. My husband be like, you ever be checking things? I said, leave me, let me check my body. Yeah, and I'll be going back.
But I don't know where I went wrong. I don't know.
I think you perhaps when you did the 15%, Trishelle, you did not take away.
Maybe.
That's one of the things you have to remember. You have to remember to get what the 15% is. But when you get it, you don't add it. You minus or take away, as you guys would say, from the first price, which is the $2,200.
Yeah. So no, I see what you did because I have your example here. Yeah. To show you went ahead and you treated it like 15 cents, and you treated the sales price as $22, not $2,200. You weren't working with the right decimals at all.
Yeah, that's
why. Yeah, and you didn't apply a percent.
We would be using a calculator for this in the exam, right?
Yeah. You would be. You would be. Okay. And you could have used the calculator on this exam too. Yeah, it was not a problem for you guys. You could have used the calculator for this as well. All right, let's try the next one. All right, great. So we have another example of absolute value. So now you guys can use the skills that I just taught you a couple problems ago. You will be able to get the answer for this one. First and foremost, how many solutions do you have?
One.
How many solutions do you have?
2.
You have 2 because you have a positive number here. So
Right.
You know you have 2 solutions. So you know that 4 is not the answer you're looking for. Okay, now that you know you have 2 solutions, in order to get your answer, you need to set up a positive answer and a negative answer and solve for X in both cases.
It's number 1.
It's not 4, right? We said it's not 4. So what's the
answer? No.
It's
no. It's 16 over 5 and 12 over 5.
No, it's 12 over 5. 4.
Okay, so if I add 4 to both sides here, I'm going to get 5x is equal to negative 12. I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So x is equal to negative 12 fifths. So it can't be this.
Oh, negative 12, 5, and 4.
Yeah. All right, if I add 4 to both sides, 5x is equal to 20. Divide both sides by 5, x is equal to 4. Okay, so be careful with your signs, right? Negative 16 plus 4 is not 12, it's negative 12, right? And that's going to make a difference in which answer you choose here. And then when we divide, when we do the opposite answer, we're going to get x is equal to 4. So this is our answer that we're looking for. Negative 12 fifths.
And And not only that, to Mr. G, when it's like this, you have to get a negative and a positive for the answer, right?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. So it could be a case where both of the answers that you end up, or the values for X that you end up with, are both positive. We do have to try to look for a negative and a positive answer. That's what we have to try for, yes. You have to try this setup, but it doesn't necessarily mean that both values of X will be negative and positive. Yeah, sometimes they're both positive because the numbers are so large. But yeah, then that's not a rule. That's not a rule. Most cases you're going to have one negative answer and one positive answer, but not always.
And we're ending up with a negative 12 over 5 because you can't say 5 into 12 2 times and 5 over.
Yeah, exactly.
Over 5.
Yeah. Okay.
Once it cannot be broken down evenly, you leave it as it is.
Leave it as a fraction, exactly. That's going to be your best bet, is to leave it as a fraction, absolutely. Okay, let's try the next one. All right, working with
CASA, Mr. G.
I'm sorry?
What's his top score for the CASA?
The top score is on the math. The top score is a 250. 250 is the top score.
Up.
The top score, but the highest range is past a 236. That's the highest range.
Because I knew at 236. That's what I was saying. 236.
Yeah. That's where once you hit a 236, you're in the highest range. But the max score you can get is a 250. Yeah. But I've had teachers take the test who can't get a 250. So that's never the goal, right? The goal is never to get a perfect score, but to get into that top range. That's always the goal. Okay. Okay. So which of the following is the same as 3 to the negative 5th and 3 to the negative over 3 to the negative 3rd? So how do we approach this? Okay. Yeah. So this is our answer. How do we get there?
3, because the two, what did that, like it's a denominator and numerator is the same. You know that you're gonna take away the 3.
Good, from the negative 5. Perfect. Right. So you can do this, right? Because this is the quotient rule. Not that you need to know the name of the rule, you just have to understand what the rule is, right? But when it's set up like this, all you need to do is subtract the bottom exponent from the top exponent. So you have negative 5 minus negative 3, right? Which actually turns into negative 5 plus 3, which gives you negative 2, right? But you don't want to represent negative 2, or we don't have that as an option, right? We don't have 3 to the negative 2. So the other way that we write 3 to the negative 2 is just 1 over 3 to the 2nd power. Okay, this is.
Is it that because you're having a positive answer?
Yes, ma'am.
The 1 over the 3 to the 2nd power, right?
Yeah, this is the negative power rule, right? Whenever I have 3 to the negative 2, I should always want to write it as a positive exponent. And the way I write it as positive is if it's in my numerator, I just put it to the denominator. So I put a 1 over it. And now it becomes a positive exponent. Very good. So what I could have done first, instead of doing the quotient rule, which is great, which is a good approach, I could already just apply the negative power rule, which means I could just switch these and I have 3 to the 3rd power over 3 to the 5th power. And then I do my same thing where I do 3 minus 5, I end up with negative 2, right? And I would still get that same answer that same way, right? There's a couple ways to approach it, but you have to understand your quotient rule and your negative power rule to get this answer of 1 over 3 to the 2nd power. Okay. All right, the next one we're dealing with a similar issue. Which one of these equals 8?
2 to the 5th power times 2 to the
Great. This top one equals 8 because of the rule, the opposite rule of what we just did. So not the quotient rule, but the product rule, which says that when the bases are the same, I can just add my exponent. So 5 plus -2 is 3, and 2 to the third power is equal to 8, because 2 times 2 times 2, which is what this is 8. Okay, 8 to the 0 power is equal to 1. Anything to the 0 power is equal to 1, right? This one here would be equal to 8 to the -1, which would be 1 over 8. This one here is equal to 2 to the -3, right? Which would be 1, again, 1 over 8. So only the top one is equal to 8. All right, so in order to answer those last two questions, you have to remember how your exponents work. All right, this is a fraction question. A 7.15H tire is 6 5/8 inches wide, and a 7.15C tire is 4 3/4 inches wide. What is the difference in their widths? So if I ask you for the difference, that means it's a what kind of problem?
Subtraction.
It's a subtraction problem. So all you're doing is subtracting 4 3/4 from 6 5/8. Okay, these do not have the same denominator, so I cannot subtract them, but it should be easy enough to fix that problem because I know that 4 goes into 8 2 times. So I'm just going to multiply this whole fraction by 2 over 2 to get 6/8, right? But now I have the problem of I have a bigger number that I'm subtracting that I have to subtract from. So to solve that problem, I'm going to borrow 1 from my 6, turn my 6 into a 5, and add 8 over 8, which is the same as 1 to this fraction. Now I have 13 over 8. Now I can subtract 6 from 13. That's going to give me 7/8. And then I can subtract 4 from 5. That's going to give me 1. My answer is 1 7/8. All right. Let's keep going. All right, this is a good one. I think you guys finally know how to do these kinds of questions with the proportions. It looked pretty straightforward. Both times, or every time that I saw this question, you guys seem to get it right, or at least get the setup correct. So if she can read 5 pages in 8 minutes, how long does it take her to read the 145-page book? So we can do 5 over 8 is equal to 145 over x. You cross multiply. 5 times x gives you 5x. 8 times 145 will give you 1160. Divide both sides by 5, and X will be equal to 232 minutes. And you can leave it just like that as 232 minutes, right? If you want to convert it to hours, you would need to divide this 232 by 60. I don't need the hours, right? It's in minutes. The problem is in minutes, you can leave it in minutes, okay? So your answer is X is equal to 232 minutes.
I didn't
Right,
work
that's
it
not-
out that way, but I got the same answer.
yeah, but you know, you always have your backwards way of doing things.
I did the 5 into the 145 and then multiply it by the 8.
No, that would have given you 72. That's not what you did.
No, I did that, Mr. G. I divide 5 into 145.
Oh, okay, 5 into 145, right? You see, I thought you said you got 9.
No, I said I divide.
Okay. I was like, you couldn't have gotten 9. I'm like, you got it right, so you didn't do that.
When I did that, I get 29. So it would be like I was saying, I get 29, 5 minutes. So if
Get
it's
it, there we go.
9 minutes, I multiply it by the 8, I ended up with the 232.
Yep, no, that's fine. Yeah, that is the same thing. Yeah, that's fine. Mhm.
You see, in
Okay.
Jamaica, they teach a way, the teaching in Jamaica is way different from here.
More than likely, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm trying to run back some of the stuff that I learned from you, my son, and he's like, what? No, how you come by that? Why you doing it like that and all of that? I'm like, this is the way my teacher is teaching me now.
Yep. The beautiful thing about math is, you know, there might be multiple ways to do it, but at the end of the day, are you getting the same answer?
Yes.
Then that's what's important, right? And if you're not getting the same answer, then that's when we have a problem, right? Then we have a problem about the understanding or what we need to do. But if you're getting the same answer, whatever method works for you, works for you. I'm never going to correct somebody's method if they're getting the correct answer. I'm not going to be like, oh no, you have to do it this way. There's no such thing. No such thing. Okay. All right, what is the solution to this problem? 3m squared to the third power.
27m6.
Very good. You have to apply the cube to both the 3 and the m squared. In this case, 3 cubed is 27. And then m squared cubed, you have to multiply 2 times 3 to get 6. So your answer is 27 m to the 6th power. All right, that's our power rule. Okay, very good. Next. All right, more exponents. How do we rewrite s to the negative 4 with positive exponents?
Same thing like you did a while ago with the 1 over the 8 over
Yep,
4.
1 over s to the 4th power. Okay. Obviously, the last one can't be the answer because that has a negative exponent. So that could never be the answer because the whole point is to get a positive exponent. So 1 over s to the 4th power.
4 would be incorrect also.
Negative what? Yes, this would, yeah, this would be incorrect. Yeah, because this
between the 1 over 8
Mhm.
4 and the 8 to the 4th power.
Yeah, this is an S, Miriam. Maybe you need to get some glasses, ma'am.
S? Like 8, Mr. G, all the time I had it for 8. And I'm not getting any glasses, Mr. G. I shall have 20/20 vision. My eyesight will never go dim. I have the sight of Moses.
I'm just messing with you. Okay, fraction multiplication. This one is a very easy one. Most of you were able to do this one. I think the easiest thing to do is to make this mixed number an improper fraction. So 5 times 3 plus 1, so you're going to have 16/5 times 5 over 8, and you can multiply straight across to get your answer. But for me, I'm going to simplify. I'm going to get rid of these 5s because they're just going to be 1 anyway. And both 16 and 8 can be reduced by each other. So I'm going to end up with 2 times 1 over 1 times 1, which is just 2. Okay, so this answer is just 2. your multiplication of fractions is much more straightforward than your addition and subtraction of fractions, but please always make sure that you remember your rules of how to convert your fractions, because that's going to save you some time. Even if you multiply straight across, you're going to still end up with the same answer. So if you do 16 times 5, you're going to end up with 80. 5 times 8 is 40. 80 divided by 40 still gives you 2. So you don't have to cross cancel here like I did. You should still end up with the same answer as 2.
That's how I did it.
All right, there's a few more left. I think we have 6 more. All right, number 16, write 0.075 as a percent. Remember, when we go from a decimal to a percent, we do the reverse. So we go to the right by 2. 1, 2. So that answer is 7.5%.
Decimal to percent is to
You
the
go
left.
to the right. Decimal to percent, you go to the right. So 1.
No, sorry, percent to decimal, sorry.
Yeah, percent to decimal is to the left.
Because that's what I did for this. I was like, oh, Mr. G said we go to the left, so this is to the right.
Yep, exactly. Okay. 17, we need to put the following decimal values in order. Okay, so you have to start with the smallest and go up to the largest. Which one is the smallest of these? Which one is the smallest number?
I look back on my answer, Mr. G, because I got it right. Nice. Okay, the smallest is 0.06.
That is
0.06.
yeah. Which one is the next one? That is the smallest. The next smallest.
0.4.
Nope.
0.25.
0.256.
56.
Okay. And now 0.4. Okay.
And then 0.550.
0.55. Okay. And
0.804.
0.804. Okay. This is our order.
So Trishelle, you got this one right?
I think so. Let me see. Let me check.
No, I got some of them right.
All right, let me give you a trick with this one, Trishelle, how it works for me. What I did was actually write down all the numbers under each other.
Yep.
And when I did that, when I reached the point, I start from the first number to the point. The first decimal number to the point.
That's exactly how you should do it. Yes. So
yes, that way you can't go wrong.
If you just write down all of your numbers, right, you're able to compare
going
them.
Straight down.
Write them, write them not horizontal. The way I put it is because I wanted to trick you, right? This way
Right.
that's horizontal is not as easy but if you put it on top of one another,
right,
then you're like, oh, now I understand.
Never miss it like that, Trishelle. Never, ever.
So if you line them up like this, you're going to be able to see that, oh,
0 is the smallest.
all you do is you cover up, you use another sheet of paper and you cover up your numbers and just go right next. I was like, oh, well, 0 is smaller than 2, so this has to be first, right? 4 is bigger than 2, so that one is, you know what I mean? So if you cover it up and you just go number by number, you'll never make a mistake.
And then when you reach to the 0.804, because you're going to have 0.88, then you're going to realize that when you're checking the second one now, that the 0 is smaller than the 88.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's always going to be easier this way vertically than it is horizontally. But your questions are always going to come horizontally. They're always going to show up like that, right? Because that's how they save space on test paper. So, you know, you just have to get used to it showing up that way. But that doesn't change you from being able to write it somewhere else, right? And put it in order. Right, exactly. Yeah, you should definitely put it vertically. Putting it vertically is definitely going to help you out.
You never get it wrong if you do it like that and understand the steps.
Yep. Exactly. All right. Just a few more left. Okay. All right. 18. Again, this is just a combining terms question. This one was pretty straightforward, pretty easy. I think everybody got this one correct. You just have to find your A's, find your B's, and realize you only have one C. So you have 7A plus 4B plus C. No, I'm sorry, 6A. Right, 7A minus 1A, that's 6A plus 4B plus C. I'm pretty sure all of you got that one correct. So good job there. All right, this is the one, Miriam, where you can see you left off my 50 cents for some reason. The second time, because the first time.
Maybe I gave away that 50 cent for tip.
The first time you did it, but the second time you didn't.
I guess I gave it away. Let me see what I have.
Okay, but anyway, you guys all got this one right, but you take your 390, you multiply it by the 0.15, it's going to give you like 58.50, which is almost 59. You add the 58, 59, the 58, 50, and the 390 together to get your 507.50 for the cost of this washer. And I'll just go ahead and write down the steps just in case anybody's watching this back and forgot how to do it. But you take your 390, you multiply it by 0.15. That's going to give you how much tip you're going to give this person. Right, you're going to give them 58.50 in tip. Okay, so that's the tip you're giving them. But of course, you also have a delivery fee. You don't tip them on the delivery fee, right? That's because that's a flat fee. They don't get that, but you tip them 15% of the price of the washer. So you do 390 plus 59 plus 58.50. And when you add all three of those up, you're going to get your total, which is $507.50. Okay, that's what we're looking for here for that answer. Perfect. All right, two more. All right, you guys also got this one right very well. You guys did awesome with these last two questions, which shows me that you're like, I know how to do this sales tax stuff, which is perfect. So $42,500 was the price of this new car, which is actually a pretty typical price for a new car these days. 42,500, and then you multiply it by the 0.065. Okay, when you multiply that out, that's how much you're going to end up paying in just sales tax for the car. And so you're going to end up paying $2,762.50. So you take that tax, you have to add it to the 42,500, and then you're going to have your total, which ends up being $45,262.50. Right? And most of you got that correct as well. There weren't any issues there with this one, even with the two steps. And I think that this might have been another one that it was marked wrong, I think, by the computer, because you guys might have put in the dollar signs. Let me see, let me scroll down just to double check. Yeah, you guys are marked, it was marked wrong by the system, but I went ahead and gave you guys the credit for it because of course you guys got it right. You just put in too much information, but I went back in and gave you guys your points, right? So it marked it wrong, but I know you guys did it right. Okay. And the last one, 47 divided by 1.5. You guys all did spectacularly well with this one. Very easy question. And you guys got the answer of 31.3 or 31.33. I didn't tell you how to round it, so you didn't need to round it, but 31.3 or 31.33 are perfect answers. I was happy with both. And you guys did very well with that last question, right? Remember that when we're dividing by a decimal, in the case where you have to do this by hand, right? I know that some of you may have used your calculator. Don't forget that when you do this by hand and you're dividing 47 by 1.5, and you have that 1.5 on the outside, remember that you're gonna have to move that decimal out. So when you do that, it becomes 15 into 470, okay? And that's how we're gonna end up with the 31, because we're gonna have 45, and we're gonna have 20, we have to put 1 here, and we have 5 left over. We're gonna do 50, and then we're gonna get another 3, and so on and so forth, all right? So that's how we're gonna get the 31.3 when we do it by hand. Remember, you are gonna have to move that decimal out. Okay, so that was that. Good job for the first attempt. If you guys want to attempt it again, because, well, Miriam already did her 2 attempts, so she's fine. But those of you who only did it 1 time and want to try it again, make sure you guys go in and do it again before 3 o'clock p.m. tomorrow, just to give yourself some time to practice, right? And review anything that you might need to review. So it's in there. If you have not done it yet, I'm not sure why you haven't done it yet, but please go in and do it and take this practice. But it's just a good way for you guys to review what we've learned, right? Remember that the CASAS test is going to cover a lot of things, right? But we try to focus on the things that were giving you trouble in the first place in the CASAS test. And also at the same time, I try to prepare you for your GED test. It's a hard thing to balance both, but that's what my job is, right? So I have to do it. So the things that we covered are supposed to prepare you for both exams. So hopefully we covered enough to improve your score. Remember, we're not going to cover every single thing that you're going to see on the test in 1 term. It's impossible to do that, right? Because everything that you see on the test is many, many years of school. But we do what we can in the time that we're given, and we try to work through that. Remember that your goal is always just to try to improve a little bit every time, or to at least maintain if you can't improve, but a little bit, right? When I say a little bit, we're looking like 3 points. Every time you take the test, we're looking for like a 3-point improvement. If you get more than 3 points, you're doing way better than most people, right? Because a 3-point improvement is what we're expecting to happen. For those of you who wanted extra help on ratios and ratio tables, I put a folder in here in your week 11 folder. There's a folder in here with other lesson videos and other notes on ratios. So maybe that will help you guys out to look at that. So make sure you do take a look in that folder if you need more help with ratios. Unfortunately, we're pretty much out of time, so we can't really go over any of it, but it is going to be there for you to take a look at whenever you get a chance. And it has been an absolute delight, as it always is, to teach you guys every term. We never know what the world is going to throw at you, so we have to always try to be as prepared as possible. This year is not a year that anybody expected or even wanted to be the way that it is, but even given that, you guys found a way and made your way to class, so you have to make sure that you give yourselves a lot of respect for just doing that, and making it to the end of 2020, right? Because there are over 2 million people who didn't make it to the end of 2020, right? Or over 200,000 people who didn't make it to the end of 2020 because of this virus and all the other things that are going on. So the fact that you've made it to the end of this year says a lot, and we should take a lot of solace in that. And also remember that you have to give yourself patience and space to do things, right? You can't get mad at yourself for not remembering something if you don't give yourself the time to study it, right? You can't get mad at yourself for not knowing something if you haven't yet learned it. So always give yourself patience and space when you're trying to learn new things. And remember that everything is a journey and everything takes time, right? Nobody woke up one day and was like, oh, I know everything, I am everything, and I'm the best. Everybody takes time, and it takes others longer than some, right? So give yourself patience, give yourself some time. And while you're on this break, Please make sure to stay safe, and so that you can return happy and healthy in the new year, if that's what you choose to do. And I hope to see you all in January healthy and well rested and having enjoyed your holidays. So have a happy holiday season, and I will hopefully see everybody on January 11th. All right.
Do not
Have a good break.
Mr. G, you won't be there for the for testing.
I'm going to be there for testing, but not on Monday. I'll be there on Tuesday. So we're splitting the days. And so Miss Latifa will probably be in on maybe on Monday. Miss Latifa tries to avoid going into the building. She does not like to go into the building. But I won't be there on Monday. I'll be there on Tuesday. Yeah.
Do you know when I'm gonna take my test?
What test, Antoinette?
The CASAS test.
We talked about that already, right? Where you're not taking the CASAS test.
Oh yeah, that's right. My bad.
It's
okay, Antoinette.
I think she wants to take it.
Apparently. I know.
I want to see how well she would do.
No CASAS test for you right now, ma'am. It's okay. You do not need to take it right now. You need to focus on that GED for the moment. You'll take it next time if you need to take it next time, but we're hoping that you don't, right? Like we're hoping that you're going to pass your GED before it's time to take the CASAS test again, right? Same thing with Tashelle. Tashelle is going to take her test next week, but this is going to be the last time that she takes that CASAS test because she's going to finish, right?
Right.
Okay. All right, everybody. All right, you all have a great.
Mr. G, question before you leave.
Yes.
Because you know I'm doing the I don't like the IXL.
Yeah.
Which Miss Latifa do give us practice whatever, but it keeps telling me that I've reached my limit for the day.
Mm-hmm. And the reason it's telling you that is because you probably haven't signed in properly. So what you can do.
But when the sign-in coming, it's telling me about pain.
Yeah, it's only telling you about pain because it doesn't recognize that it's you who's on the system. So let me show you something real quick. Let me pull up IXL. And then I'll share my screen with you. Okay, so when you are in IXL, it should say in the upper right-hand corner here, where it says, you see where it says, welcome, Mr. G, right? For you, it's gonna say, welcome, Miriam. If it doesn't say that, it's because you're not signed in, okay? So there's two things you can do. One, you can open up another tab, right? You just click the plus sign here. You open up another tab and you go to Clever, and you should have the Clever tab already in your bookmarks, right? You go to Clever, you log in with your Google account, right? You choose the right account, you log in. And after you're in with Clever, right? This should look familiar to you, like your welcome page for Clever. You're gonna have a link here at the bottom for IXL.
I did all of that.
And when you click on that link, that should log you into IXL and it should say, welcome, Miriam. If it doesn't do that, then the other option is to click there and click sign in, and then just use your computer login to try to log in there.
Okay, I'm gonna try.
All right, so that's how you would figure that out. But normally Clever is the best way for you to get into IXL.
Because when I did the other one, then it's not even giving me question, it's just like teaching me.
Right, exactly, yeah. Because it doesn't recognize that it's you, that's why. It has to say welcome Miriam. If it doesn't say welcome Miriam, it's because you're not logged in.
Not the IXL, Mr. G.
The Essential Ed, yeah.
The Essential Ed. I am not getting any question as in to do the questions. It's like going over the different subjects.
Okay, so to get assignments in IXL, that's going to be different, right? So let me log in real quick. When it comes to IXL, oh, sorry, my password is nuts. Correct. Okay. So, okay. So when you're in IXL and you're in something like your GED Academy, right? You want to make sure.
What I get is this, Mr. G, where is it start lesson?
Yeah, so you should be looking at the tabs up here is where you'll find your assignments. So if you put in the learning plan as the default tab, but there should be another tab, you know, where mine says review. I don't have anything to review, but you should have another tab that says assignments. So things that Miss Latifa sent to you will be under the assignments tab, not in the learning plan. So you want to look for assignments, and then you can start doing those assignments.
Oh, so the teacher would have to assign things to me for me to have stuff there to do.
Yeah, and there probably are things in there, but you just have to remember so it's not going to show up because this is what's going to show up, learning plan, right? But you
Then
have
I keep doing, because I reach far in the start lesson. I'm keep doing what they should give me there, which is good.
Yeah.
Because it some simple things when it shows you, I'm like, wow, I didn't know this. But if I had known this,
right. So
but
this
I
is
don't actually have the work where it gives you like a 20 problem and you do them to reach the 100. I'm not getting that.
Yeah, so it's not gonna, it's never gonna be that long. It's always gonna be like 5 or 6 questions, but it's always gonna be in the next tab over. So look for another tab that says assignments, and then there should be a couple things that'll be like practice, you know, equations or something like that, and it'll have like 5 or 6 questions. But it has to be in the assignments tab. So make sure you look for the tab next to it, not the learning plan, but the tab next to it. Okay, that's what you're looking for in Essential Ed. All right. Okay.
Mr. G.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got one question. Please, can you tell me what is the importance of the CASA test?
So the CASAS test just lets us know how successful we were how successful you were this term, and how successful I was as your teacher to improve the skills that you needed to improve in each subject, right? So it just shows what progress you've made just in one term alone with us. And so that's the purpose of the CASAS test, right? To kind of track your progress term after term. You do not have to take the CASAS test once you finish or began taking your GED exam. So once you have at least one GED subject test done, the importance of the CASAS test goes down, right? Because we no longer need to use the CASAS test to track your progress, because we have the GED test now to track your progress. Okay. So once you start taking your GED test, which will start in January, probably, because I think Miss Butler said that she needs to wait till the next term. But once you start taking your GED test, we won't have to worry about the CASAS anymore, because you'll be able to track your progress based on how well you're doing on the GED test.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So it's just a way for us to track your progress.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else that I can help you guys with? All right. So I will see a couple of you maybe next week, Tuesday. The rest of you I won't see again. So have a great break, and I'll see you guys in January.
Class Friday?
Yes. And Friday class. Yes. Don't forget. Also Friday class.
I'm like, I had an appointment for 11 o'clock Friday, and I'm like, no, I got class.
Yes, there is class on Friday. Yes. All right. Have a good one, everyone.
All right. See you Friday.
Bye, Mr. G.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy, everyone. Enjoy your holidays and be safe. Don't eat up too much food, because remember, you're not exercising.
You too, Mariam. Bye.
Girl, I'll be baking a lot, so I know I'm going to eat a lot.